BloodSport is an adaptation of the real-life Frank Dux, and today I will be explaining the real-life facts behind each thing in the movie. The Komite, believe it or not, was actually real. It was a secret tournament held every 5 years. However, the Komite is now discontinued. Because it was so secretive, it's really hard to find a trace of their existence on the internet. According to the real Frank Dux, the tournament was held in the Bahamas and not Hong Kong. Why the Bahamas out of all places? No clue. With other real-life figures, Roy Chow plays a race-bend version of a man named Jack Sakai. Donald Gibb plays Ray Jackson. However, his character traits come from a man named Richard Robinson. Chong Li was also a real person, and actually did blinded ducks during battle. With other real-life accuracies, Frank Dux did not break into his trainer's house to steal a sword, that was just added into the movie for fun. And of course, gives Dux a motivation, and a training montage, which shows us that he is not a self-insert Gary Stu, and clearly painful, but worth it at the end. I was worried that they were going to do the dying on the bed cliche here, but they end up not doing it, thankfully. The idea of making Frank Dux part of the military was mostly based off a popular rumor from the early 80s. The rumor was Dux was a Vietnam veteran who murdered during the war, but Dux himself claims otherwise. I was originally against this idea for the plot, but I've grown to love it more for Dux's character. The fictional version, at least. I don't remember the names of these two, so I'm gonna call them by their actor names. Forrest Whitaker and Norman Burton serve as officers trying to find Dux, while also giving us a fun chase scene that involves boats. Dux also did not have a love interest in real life, that was also added in for fun. Another thing I want to mention are the fighters, such as Toad from the X-Men. I have no clue if that's an African fighting style, but it's cool. A Thai Mexican dude, who I swear reminds me of Don Flamenco from Punch-Out, and takes a more aggressive approach to fighting. A sumo wrestler,
Pow! Right in the kitchen!
a Harley-Davidson trucker with quite the personality, and of course, the man who steals the show himself, Jean-Claude Van Damme. If this is your first time watching Jean, it takes a bit to get used to because of his heavy accent.
Are you awake, Shidoshi?
He does still bring in an alright performance. While some fight scenes obviously look fake due to safety procedures at the time, the fake ones still give us a decent amount of fun. There's also tons of violence in this movie, which is one of the film's highlights. Even someone's leg bone is showing. I can't show the actual clip because of YouTube. And some of these people don't even die. There's also some additional stuff I want to mention, such as this scene. Careful now, this is the 80s. You might get ADs. The ice shattering scene is pretty cool. Teeth knockout. I like how the board works. Sadly, a decade later, the real-life Frank Dux attempted to sue Jean-Claude Van Damme. He saw it as an act of oral conduct. The reason being is because Dux wrote a script called The Committee, which was meant to be a loose sequel to BloodSport. However, due to production issues, the film was scrapped. Then Jean-Claude Van Damme wrote another script called The Quest, which had a similar plot to The Committee. However, Dux lost the lawsuit. It is also worth noting that Mortal Kombat took inspiration from this movie, with Johnny Cage, of course, being inspired by Jean-Claude Van Damme. And with the violence in this movie, it makes a ton of sense.